Many years ago, a massive crowd gathered inside the grand estate of a wealthy industrialist who had passed away. Everything he owned was being auctioned to the highest bidder. For hours, the auctioneer had been selling expensive paintings, elegant furniture, priceless antiques, and sparkling gold watches. As the day was coming to an end, he reached into an old cardboard box tucked away at the back of the stage. He pulled out something that looked completely out of place. It was an old violin. Its wood was scratched and faded, the strings hung loose, covered in dust. It looked so worn out that most people wouldn't have given it a second glance. With a slight smirk, the auctioneer held it up. "What am I bid for this old violin? $100? Silence. $50? Still nothing. 25? 5? How about just $1? The room burst into laughter. People shook their heads. To them, the violin was nothing more than a worthless piece of junk. Just as the auctioneer was about to toss it aside, a quiet voice came from the back of the room. "Excuse me, may I have a moment?" Everyone turned. An elderly man slowly made his way through the crowd. His coat was worn. His hands trembled with age, yet his eyes carried remarkable confidence. Without saying another word, he gently took the violin. Carefully, he brushed away years of dust. Then he tightened each string, one by one, listening closely to every note until the instrument was perfectly tuned. The room watched in complete silence. The old man lifted the bow, took a slow breath, and began to play. A breathtaking melody filled the hall. The music was rich, emotional, and so beautiful that it seemed to stop time itself. The people who had laughed only moments earlier stood completely still. Some couldn't believe what they were hearing. Others quietly wiped away tears. For those few minutes, it wasn't just a violin being played. It was a forgotten masterpiece coming back to life. When the final note faded into silence, the old man gently placed the violin back into the auctioneer's hands and quietly returned to his place in the crowd. The auctioneer stared at the instrument, almost unable to speak. His earlier confidence had disappeared. He looked at the audience and softly asked, "What am I bid for this violin?" A voice immediately called out, $1,000! Another shouted, $2,000! Before anyone could react, another bid echoed across the room. $5,000! The auctioneer smiled. Sold! The hammer struck the table. The room was stunned. People whispered to one another. What just happened? It's the same violin. The same wood. The same strings. So, what changed? The answer was simple. It only needed the touch of a master's hand. Think about that story for a moment. Nothing about the violin actually changed. The wood was the same. The strings were the same. The only thing that changed was the hands that brought it back to life. Sometimes we are just like that violin. Life leaves us with scars. Failures shake our confidence. Criticism makes us question our worth. And after enough disappointments, we begin to believe that maybe we really aren't valuable anymore. But that's not the truth. Your current condition is not your true value. Sometimes all you need is a little fine-tuning, better habits, a stronger mindset, new skills, more patience, a little more belief in yourself. Small improvements, repeated every day, can completely transform your future. There's a wonderful book called You Inc. by Burke Hedges that expands on this idea and reminds us to take ownership of our own growth. If today's story inspired you, it's worth checking out. Remember, never judge your future by your present condition. A dusty violin can still create beautiful music, and a person who feels forgotten today can still accomplish extraordinary things tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, consider subscribing for more stories that entertain, inspire, and leave you with a lesson worth remembering. Until next time, take care and keep becoming the best version of yourself.